So, talking about low cost paid ad strategies today, you want to run ads, but you have a small business and you don't really know how to set up your campaigns and DIY them. So, let's look at Google and Meta as two different platforms and talk about how you can get in there and start playing and creating your own low cost ad campaigns to test and to start seeing what results you can generate. Stop and don't spend another single cent on advertising until you listen to this. I'm Marianne Amies. This is Ready, Set, Paid Ads, digital marketing for paid ad success. Let's go. Welcome back to another episode of Ready, Set, Paid Ads. I'm really excited to talk to you today about low-cost paid ad strategy. We hear a lot, especially with the small business owners that we work with, around the cost of ads and how the cost of ads themselves can be quite overwhelming or even feel quite unattainable for a lot of small business owners. When a small business wants to work with an agency, they're facing management fees and ad costs together, and that can sometimes make it quite hard or not the stage that they're ready at yet. And I think learning the basics of ads, doing a fundamentals course in ads, and I must say, I do have a workshop online now where I do teach 2 hours of ads essentials, going through the basics of the Meta ads platform. And there's another one for Google ads as well. It's a great way to empower yourself with getting started in ads and starting to run some low cost ads that get you familiar with the platforms, get you testing and learning what results you can bring in for your business, and hopefully building success that you can then leverage into outsourced ad solutions that will take your business to the next level. So, talking about low cost paid ad strategies today, you want to run ads, but you have a small business and you don't really know how to set up your campaigns and DIY them. So, let's look at Google and Meta as two different platforms and talk about how you can get in there and start playing and creating your own low cost ad campaigns to test and to start seeing what results you can generate. Let's start on Google Ads. Now, look, Google Ads can be notoriously expensive. The competitiveness, especially within different industries, is high. And, if you're a business that might be smaller, but you're up against the big guys, it can be really hard to compete at that cost per click level for high quality clicks when your competitors may have quite a large budget. A great example of this is candle businesses. I think there's some huge players in the candle market, and when there's an entry-level business in the candle market, it can be quite hard to use Google Ads without going into some of the strategies we'll talk to today. But if you looked at candles for home, candles for gifts, even like masculine fragrance candles, fruity flavored candles, you'll find that those keywords all come at really high cost per click. There's other bigger businesses, plus you've got your retailers like David Jones or Myer in Australia that are targeting those keywords and have a much bigger cost per click budget than a smaller person. So it can mean that, and we see it in trades as well, can mean that there's these kind of barriers to entry. So let's talk today about what you can do in Google Ads to get some low-cost campaigns set up and running. And the first thing I want to say to you is please make sure you are not using the Google Ads Express product. There is a product when you sign up to Google Ads for the first time that you'll probably default be put into, and it's called Ads Express. And Ads Express is, again, that simplified version. Imagine it being the equivalent of boosting a post on Meta. And when you're in Ads Express, you're not going to have all the options. You're going to have a limited suite of tools to use. And I think, in fact, you'll probably end up spending more because you don't have as much control. So the first step is to make sure you're not in an Ads Express account. And if you are, is to transfer that into a standard Google Ads account. Just have a quick search on how to do that. Or if needs be, open up a brand new account. So the first thing we're going to do to be able to run a low-cost ad campaign on Google is really focus on our research and focus on our keyword research. As a small business, we don't usually need a volume of sales or a volume of leads to be successful. If you're a physiotherapist, if a Google Ads campaign brought you in 10 great appointments per week, you'd be pretty happy. You don't want it necessarily to bring you in 100 a week. It may be too much for you. So when we look at keywords and we do that keyword research before starting our campaign, we might see that Sydney physiotherapists gets 10,000 clicks per month. But we also might see that it has a really high competition against it. And when you see high competition against a keyword, it means you're going to have to pay more to be the winner of that click, to be in the first position or the second position. And that could be a $17 click. It could be a $25 click. It could be an $8 click. What we want to find are the keywords that are more niched to our business and that are probably long tail keywords. So Sydney physiotherapy is a very broad keyword that, will have a high volume of search and high volume of competition. But me, the individual, I might not search Sydney physiotherapy. I might search in my local area. So I might search physiotherapists in Alexandria for ankles. Now, that's a long tail keyword. There's multiple words in there. Physio near me for neck strain injury. What we want to do is understand some of those longer term keywords because they are where we can sometimes secure a better cost per click. And what you'll find with those long tail keywords is they have low volume. So a lot of people get turned off. They go, oh, well, that term or that long tail keyword about neck strain, it only has 20 searches per month. But as that small business, if you could capture 5% of that, that would actually represent a great number of leads into your small business. And being that longer tail, you might find the competition is lower. So you might get a $2 cost per click. So all of a sudden, if your daily budget is $10 or $20, you can secure a bigger volume of clicks. Whereas if your budget is $10 or $20 and one click costs $8, you can see that you're going to max out very quickly. So once you've established your keywords and you've got a mix of short tail keywords, long tail keywords, you've kind of looked at competitiveness on those keywords and have a mix of some broad keywords. And I'll talk to you about some ways to protect yourself from cost blowing out on those as well. Have some of those broad keywords, have some of those medium density keywords where the volume's kind of in the middle and the competition's quite in the middle. Then have some really niche ones. Look for keywords that have your suburb if you're a local business or some niched part of your product or service that you're really known for and that's going to connect well. Then you want to consider your campaign type. So in the last few years, the PMAX campaign type has become really popular on Google and it's got a lot of that AI automation in it. But what you find is you actually need quite a high budget for your PMAX campaign to learn and optimize and for your ads to get out there. Search campaigns are probably still the most cost effective. So it's the classic Google Ads campaign that we've known for decades. It's that line of text, you're writing headlines, you're writing descriptions, you're picking keywords. It's quite a simple campaign type. And they do tend to result in kind of a lower cost per click. They may not be as high quality. A PMAX campaign may bring you the hot lead that's ready to go. It might help you find new people you hadn't thought of, but it's going to cost a lot more. So a search campaign may be a great low cost place to start. Shopping campaigns can also be good if there's low competition. So a shopping campaign for a candle business, probably not going to work so well because you're up against the big guys. But say a shopping campaign for something more niche, something more unique or new to market, where there might be lower competition, is going to work a little bit better for a product-based business. Then we want to really drill into our optimizations. So setting a budget cap overall. So within the Google Ads framework, there is that daily budget. So we want to set something we're comfortable with. So are we comfortable with $10 a day or are we comfortable for $20 a day? That budget gives us the confidence that our ads can't blow out and, all of a sudden we've overspent and we're in hot water. Outside of that, we also want to use what's called a manual cost per click cap. Now, earlier I was saying how keywords can cost different costs per click, and that cost per click varies from every single time your ad is shown. So, on any given day, the bidding system that happens in the background that determines who is shown means that clicking on your ad in the morning might actually be cheaper than clicking on it in the afternoon or within minutes, depending on your competitor activity. What we can do with a cost per click cap is just set the limit that we're not willing to go over. So rather than letting Google know our daily budget and say, do whatever you have to do, throw whatever you want at it, just get us clicked, that could mean you get 3 clicks and your day's over. Whereas if we set a cost per click cap at $3 and we've got a $20 per day budget, we're going to get at least 10 clicks in that day. Now, don't forget the click is only the first step. You still need to convert them once they get to your website. So we want to maximize the clicks. Your ad will show until your budget is exhausted. So that cost per click cap is just, I guess, opting out of keywords that are just going to blow our budget. And when you've got those long tail keywords in your mix and you've got some medium competition keywords in your mix, there is an opportunity for you to show and for you to get seen in that low cost way. You might find with a cost per click cap that your ads or your budget doesn't spend out. So when you have long tail keywords that are quite specific and low volume, you might have a cost per click cap on. There may be days where there is not enough search demand for your ad to show, and so your budget doesn't spend out. So you might have said you're willing to spend $20 that day, but really you only spent 10 because Google couldn't get your ad out to enough people. That can be okay, and you need to monitor that. But if it's 4 or 5 days or a week and your budget is either not spending at all or not spending to the full capacity, you might want to creep that cost per click cap up. Increase it by 10%, see what happens. Increase it by 10%, see what happens. If it gets to a point where it's too large a percent of your budget and then you're spending your daily budget but only on a couple of clicks, maybe go back to your keywords and start looking at your keywords. Another really important optimization is negative keywords. There are so many ad accounts we audit that do not have any negative keywords set up. So when you're selecting keywords, you can pick whether you want it to be exact. So do you want it to be exactly neck pain, physio Alexandria, or do you want it to be broad? So if it's broad and you're targeting neck pain, physio Alexandria, and I searched for neck injury, physio Alexandria, your ad would probably show to me because you've got a broad keyword and I've put in something similar. Broad is good because it tends to give us a little bit more opportunity without being so hyper focused exact, which tends to cost more. But what can happen is, what is deemed close enough starts to not be close enough for us as the business. So you would then go in and review the actual terms used that generated clicks to your website. And that's where you'll find things that you want to negative. So for example, for the neck injury physio Sydney, or Alexandria, it may have then been neck brace physio Alexandria. But you don't do neck braces. It's not anything to do with your business. So you would negative the word brace, which would mean any terms that are similar to what you've asked for but include brace would no longer be included. So it's really important to go and look at your keywords or look at your actual search terms that people put in, compare them against your keywords, and negative out anything that just does not work for you. Often it's like jobs. You're here advertising physio services. People are searching for jobs as neck injury physio. Your ad is showing. You want to negative the word jobs. You're not interested in people looking for jobs. You're looking for customers. So that negative keyword can help your budget go further. And make sure that your budget's being directed to the sorts of people that are best wanting to do business with you. So when it comes to Google Ads, setting up low-cost Google Ads is all about your strategy and getting that keyword strategy right, picking the right kind of campaign, and then continually optimizing, keeping your eye on what is actually being searched, your cost per click averages, your click through rates. And obviously, coming back to your ad copy all the time and testing different ad copy, seeing which headlines and descriptions are working the best and trying to double down on variations of those, letting go of things that aren't working so well. It wouldn't be a Ready Set Paid Ads episode without me talking about the ecosystem. And to successfully run low cost ads on Google, you are also going to need to make sure that your ecosystem is fully optimized. So, where are you sending this traffic? Your Google Ads campaign, all your paid ads campaigns will only ever be as successful as the website that you're sending them to. So making sure, especially when it comes to Google Ads, because it is high intent traffic, we want to send them somewhere that quickly gives them confirmation that they're in the right space and an opportunity to engage. So whether that opportunity to engage is buying, inquiring, booking, ordering, we want an action point for them because they are action orientated. That's why they clicked. That's why they were Googling. Do you have email capture in place? So whether you're e-com or service based, is there something that is actively trying to capture their email before they leave your website so that if they don't transact with you today, you have an opportunity to transact with them in the future? And then, of course, does something happen when someone signs up to your email address that nurtures them? So if we're sending traffic to our website and we're not converting, but we are getting that email, how are we nurturing them for a future conversion? And finally, social retargeting. Are we retargeting website traffic through social channels to help, again, extend that money invested, maximize that money invested, and still kind of be top of mind for those people that haven't converted yet? So lots of opportunity for low cost ad campaigns with Google. And as I said, it really comes down to getting the strategy and structure right and making sure that you are optimizing along the way. Let's dive now into meta campaigns. I do think that there's more flexibility in meta for lower cost campaigns. I think number one, the targeting can be a little bit easier. Obviously, we're highly visual. I think that that can help to entice people to engage. But also, I guess what you need to balance that out with is remembering that it is lower intent. In Google, we're serving an ad to somebody who is ready. They are Googling. By definition, they are ready. They want the thing they're looking for, or at the least, they're shopping and researching. Often, when we advertise via social channels, we're suggesting something to somebody. They may be looking at similar things and we're able to kind of retarget them. But a lot of the time, we're basing it on their activities and behaviors and showing them something that as it arrives in their feed, they weren't actively asking for. So we need to remember it's a lower intent. They're not necessarily ready to go, or they weren't necessarily seeking out this solution right now, but it does tend to be lower cost, a lot because of the competitiveness as well. So when we're looking at our meta campaigns, how can we set them up to be low cost and successful? So firstly, it's by looking at the objectives. So every campaign on Meta has one objective, and there are a range of objectives to choose from. Traffic and awareness are some of the lower cost objectives. So traffic are meta campaigns that are about sending people to a URL. So to your website, to a product page, to a service page. And awareness is about getting people to see a post, either that you've already posted or that you create in an ads format, and getting more awareness of your brand, of your offer, but in a very kind of content driven way as opposed to trying to push them to a link. Now, they're both generally lower cost per engagement, lower cost per click, but they are lower intention. So, it is really top of funnel when we're looking at traffic and awareness campaigns. At the other end, you've got lead gen and conversion campaigns. These are trying to convert. These are middle and bottom funnel. Lead gen is very middle funnel. Conversion is very bottom of funnel. So they do generally have actions that come at a higher cost. So when you're trying to maximize a small budget, and especially if you haven't been advertising before, focusing in at the top of funnel and having some low cost traffic and awareness campaigns can start to build that audience for you, start to build that credibility and trust factor for people to transact with you. My recommendation with a low budget as well is to test one campaign type at a time. So test a traffic campaign for a couple of weeks, then test an awareness campaign for a couple of weeks, then maybe test a lead gen or a conversion based campaign and just see what the cost per action is and what the end result is. Because again, a really low cost per traffic action is great, but if it results in nothing, it may not be as useful. Whereas the conversion cost may cost you more per click, but if it actually converts at a higher rate as a total P&L, it may be the more profitable ads strategy for you that you want to back. Once you've nailed objective and you've got your campaign, and as I said, you're going to test different campaigns, then we've got audience set up. And I think, again, audience is an important area in Meta and has a lot more flexibility. So some low cost audience ideas or, some audiences to target that may give you a lower cost result, I think is a lookalike of your existing customers. If you have quite a good customer database and you can upload that into Meta, letting it find you lookalikes because you've given it so much information and quite relevant information is going to allow it to get out to similar people to your customers quicker and not have to learn so much, not have to exhaust so much of your budget trying to find the right audience for your ads. The other great audience setup, I think, is retargeting your web browsers. So if you're pushing people through your website through SEO or through great organic content or through Google Ads content, retargeting them with social ads can be a really great, always on low cost campaign that just helps to give people that extra push. If you're an e-com, definitely exclude purchases. You don't want to kind of follow someone around with a product that they've already bought. It can be quite frustrating. But again, testing different audiences in different campaigns. So within one campaign, you can have ad sets, and the ad sets can be testing different audiences, allowing you to see which audience gives you the most cost efficient result. Then you've got your creative. And I really think, again, creative is a huge lever. And in 2024, it definitely proved to be a huge lever for how you can impact budget, how you can lower your cost results and really maximize your budget. Video tends to perform at a lower cost per result. But sometimes I find video doesn't get as strong a conversion rate. So it's something you need to test for your individual business. Stories and reels can be really cost effective ad types. They can have lower cost per clicks and high engagement rates. But sometimes I see, especially with stories, that click through might not be as high. So they can be good for awareness, especially. And reels can be quite good for e-com purchasing. But I think you need to look at all the different content types depending on your business and test it out. So carousels, which is where you have multi images that can be slid across, they can do really well from a conversion perspective as well. And you can, do some great storytelling in a carousel. You're building those multiple images across some messaging. So testing some video ads, testing some carousels. Whatever you test against one ad set, make sure you test it against the other ad set identically. So you want to know audience A has video A and carousel B, and audience B also has video A and carousel B, because we want to know exactly which audience performed better and which creative performed better. If you mix it all up and don't do a proper split test, you can't really go back and see. So lots of testing and constantly testing. If you're not getting the results you want at a cost perspective or at a conversion perspective, come back to that creative and just continually test. What's working for you organically can give you some great hints as to what to put into paid. Overall on Meta, when it comes to the best low cost ideas, I think always on retargeting with, a $5 budget. That is just looking at website traffic and just pushing some ads that would push people further down the funnel. So thinking about testimonials, UGC, client showcasing, or, an offer to check out if you're an e-com store. How can you just retarget the website traffic you already have that hasn't converted? I also really love always on awareness. Again, a $5 ad that just is always on, communicating who you are, communicating your services, your values, your best sellers if you're e-com, just letting that tick over and allowing there always to be something out there pushing people back to your socials or pushing people back to your website. And the other one is a free opt-in, an always on freebie is going to be building your email list, building that trust and credibility, letting people try you so a real kind of top to middle funnel experience for people as well. If there's a free downloadable, an ebook, a mini course, a sample of something, what is that opt-in that can be always on? So those three I think are great $5 a day campaigns. Cycle them, try different ones. You don't have to run them all at the same time, but just a way to, dip your toe in the water and see what those kind of low cost always on campaigns can do for you. And again, coming back to that ecosystem, where are you sending these ad traffic? If it's around traffic and getting them to your website, how's the email capture working? How are they being nurtured after they're captured in that email marketing program? And how are you working your whole ecosystem? So when it comes to paid meta ads, if you're running low cost paid meta ads, making sure your organic absolutely is singing. There is, in my mind, no great organic without great paid and no great paid without great organic. If I see an ad for an exceptional ad and I'm so in love and I'm ready and I'm feeling impulsive and I flick over to the organic and it just disconnects or there's nothing there, my credibility, my trust instantly drops. And it's the same with organic, great organic content that you're spending hours creating without some sort of always on campaign that's exposing that great organic content to new people is often lost in low engagement and low reach. So looking at those low cost campaigns and really optimizing them to support your social media strategy overall. So, look, I hope that that's given you some insight into low cost paid ad strategies. You can start small, you can gather learnings, and then really use those learnings to scale the activity you do in paid. I will pop in the notes links to my online workshops because they are really beginner friendly. They're really targeted. They're live. And I really do walk you step by step through the platforms so you can start to understand how to get around in the back end of these platforms and how you can effectively set up those beginning ads and learn our testing formula and how that can help you extend your budget even further. I hope you've enjoyed this episode today. As always, if you have any questions, please reach out on Instagram or LinkedIn, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. That's a wrap on another episode of Ready, Set, Paid Ads. If you're looking for done-for-you services, training to upskill you in ads management, or free and paid resources to help you plan and execute better ads, head to wiseupmarketing.com.au. If you've loved this episode, be sure to subscribe for future episodes. And if you know someone that would love this podcast too, go on and share it.